Hello and welcome back to Phoenix TV. Great to have you with us. If you joined us for episode 1, we cracked open the truth about hustle culture, how it glorifies burnout, over-identifies with productivity, and leaves many of us disconnected, depleted, and disillusioned. And now we build from there, because once you see the pattern, you have the power to break it. Hi, I'm your host, Corinne Brown, a leadership results coach. Today's episode is about what comes next, from hustle to heart. So if you're tired of measuring your worth by how busy you are, if you've ever questioned whether you're enough without the grind, if you're ready to lead and live with presence, impact, and freedom, this episode is for you. I'm excited to share my thoughts of unlearning to lead differently. We're taught from an early age that leadership looks like being the loudest voice in the room, that strength means never breaking down, that success is earned by sacrificing sleep, connection, and joy. But none of that is true. That's conditioning, and it's time to unlearn it. Here's what I want you to hear today. You don't need to be overextended to be valuable. You certainly do not need to hustle yourself into the ground to be a leader. And you don't need to perform strength. You are strong, even in softness. Let's take a breath and release the stories we've inherited. The shoulds, the unrealistic standards, the belief that rest is weakness. What are you ready to unlearn? Here's a prompt for your journal. If you truly believed you didn't need to prove yourself anymore, how would you lead differently? You'll be amazed at what comes up. The inner shift from pressure to purpose. Let's talk about the inner shift, because breaking out of hustle isn't about slowing down. It's about shifting why you do what you do. You can still work hard. You can still lead powerfully. But the difference, you no longer are driven by fear, proving, or pressure. You're driven by purpose. So how do you know if you're living under pressure or purpose? Here are a few signs of pressure-based leadership. You say yes when your body is screaming no. You attach your identity to your productivity, and you constantly feel behind even when you're overachieving. You feel guilty when you're resting. Now here's what purpose-driven leadership feels like. You're grounded in your values. You choose alignment over commitments, not just urgent ones, and you honor your energy instead of ignoring it. You trust that who you are is enough. This shift isn't about mindset. It's about embodiment. It's about choosing to show up differently each and every day. Here's a question to sit with. What would you change if you led from alignment instead of approval? That one shift could change everything. But there's a new model of leadership. So if hustle isn't the answer, what is it? Well, it's time for a new model of leadership, one that centers on 3 things. The first is awareness. This is the foundation, knowing your patterns, noticing when you're slipping into overfunctioning, recognizing when you're performing versus showing up authentically. It's not about being perfect, it's about being present. So ask yourself, am I honoring my truth or playing a role? The second is service, not sacrifice. True leadership serves others without abandoning yourself. When you constantly are overgiving, rescuing, fixing, you burn out. But when you serve from overflow, from clarity, from grounded power, that's when your leadership ignites change. And 3, sustainability. Repeat after me. If it's not sustainable, it's not success. Burning out isn't a badge of honour. Leadership that costs your well-being is no longer acceptable. We're building leadership that lasts, that nourishes, that leaves room for life. There are daily practices for aligned leadership. So how do you live this new model? Here are 5 daily practices that I use that can help rewire your mindset and realign your leadership. The first is start with soul, not screens. Begin your day with you. Before the emails, the to-do lists, the noise. 1 word, 1 breath, 1 intention. That's all it takes. 2, pause before you say yes. Ask yourself, is this aligned, or am I saying yes to avoid guilt, conflict, or proving? 3, track your energy, not just your time. Notice when you feel most alive or when you crash. Then structure your day around your natural rhythm. Number 4, reflect daily. So ask, what drained me today? What filled me up? What would I change if I could do today again? Reflection builds awareness, and awareness builds aligned action. And number 5, celebrate those micro wins. Progress over perfection. Celebrate every moment you honored your truth, set a boundary, or chose rest. These aren't just habits, they're revolutionary acts of reclaiming yourself. And when you feel like quitting, there will be moments on this journey when you question yourself, when people won't understand your boundaries, when old patterns try to pull you back into the grind. And you'll wonder, am I strong enough to lead differently? Let me tell you something. Yes, you are. You are strong enough to slow down. You are brave enough to walk a different path, and you are wise enough to know that peace is a power move. In those hard moments, come back to this truth. You don't need to be everything to everyone. You just need to be fully you, aligned, awake, and unapologetic. And when you quit because it's all too much, let's pause for a real moment, because this conversation wouldn't be complete without acknowledging the truth some of us carry in silence. Sometimes you don't just slow down, you stop, you quit, because it all becomes too much. The weight, the pressure, the expectations, the silence when you need support, and the noise when you crave stillness. I want to speak directly to the woman, the leader, the human being, who feels like she's broken something by walking away, who feels like quitting is failure. Here's what I need you to know. Quitting isn't weakness, it's information. It's your nervous system saying, I can't carry this anymore. It's your soul whispering, there's another way. It's your body declaring, I need rest before I disappear. Sometimes quitting is bravery, because here's the truth we're never told. Sometimes quitting is choosing yourself. Sometimes quitting is creating a boundary no one else will. And sometimes quitting is making space for life that actually fits. And if you've quit something recently, whether it was a job, a role, a project, a relationship, or just the relentless need to hold it all together, you're not broken. You're not behind. You're not lost. You are in between the version of who you survived and the version of who is learning to live. So if it all feels too much right now, let yourself breathe. You don't need to prove anything. Your worth isn't measured by what you carry or how long you carry it. You can lay it down. You can begin again. And that beginning might just be the most important and powerful thing you ever do. Sometimes the most courageous act is walking away from what was never yours to carry. The power of knowing when to quit. There's a sacred moment that comes after the breakdown. It's when you see clearly, you realize that what you once called quitting is actually choosing. You're not giving up. You're not waking up. You're not collapsing. You're consciously stepping away from what no longer serves you. And let me tell you something radical, something rarely said in leadership circles. There is power in knowing when it's time to quit. In a culture that celebrates pushing through, it takes boldness to say this isn't aligned anymore. It takes leadership to say my values have shifted, my peace is my priority. This version of success costs too much. Quitting isn't the opposite of success. Sometimes it's the beginning of it. Because when you quit the wrong thing, you make room for the right thing. When you walk away from what drains you, you create space for what fuels you. When you choose discomfort over denial, you reclaim your integrity. This is what powerful leadership looks like. It doesn't always end in applause. Sometimes it ends in quiet clarity and a soft but steady no more. So if you're standing at a threshold today, wondering if it's time to let go, trust yourself. You are not too emotional. You are not too sensitive. You are not too late. You are wise. You are ready. You are free to choose again. Because real power isn't in holding on, it's knowing when to let go. Sometimes quitting isn't quitting, it's honouring the moment you finally remembered your worth. So here's your invitation. This week, try one new way of being, one boundary, one aligned yes or powerful no, one moment of rest without guilt, and one moment where you choose you. Because the moment you reclaim your voice, the more you lead from wholeness, not hustle, the more you light the path for others. This is leadership, this is legacy, and this is your time. Join me next episode as we explore how to overcome self-doubt, break internal ceilings, and become the kind of leader who doesn't just rise but helps others to rise too. Until then, stay aligned, stay powerful, and most of all, stay true. You are enough exactly as you are. I'm Corinne Brown. This is From Hustle to Heart. Thank you for showing up. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here.